Assalamualaikum and hello everyone. Welcome to the video for the summary of my map for chapter 9 Carbonyl. Okay, so for Carbonyl is divided into two. We have our aldehyde and we have our ketone. Okay, so what's the difference between the aldehyde and ketone? If the carbon double bond O is bonded to the hydrogen, so this is what we call aldehyde. But if the carbon double bond O attached to carbon and carbon, then will be our ketone. Okay, so that is actually the difference. But the reaction mostly dia akan sama lah. Okay, so again for the reaction of carbonyl ni, we're gonna look how to prepare the aldehyde and we're gonna see what is the reaction of the aldehyde itself. Okay, so how to prepare aldehyde? So for the preparation of aldehyde, we have two ways of it. So first one is actually oxidation of our primary alcohol. So this is an example of my primary alcohol. So how does it undergo oxidation to form our aldehyde? So actually for the oxidation, what will happen is that we will remove two hydrogen. So one of the hydrogen two must be from the COH lah. Because the COH will become C double bond O. So the first one we're going to remove this one. Okay, so tu baru one hydrogen. The other hydrogen must be attached to the COH yang ni. Okay, so we can see we have 1, 2 kan. So it's either these two lah. So tak kisahlah if you're gonna remove bawah ni boleh. Remove atas ni pun boleh. Okay, so I'm just gonna remove the bottom one. Okay, so what will be my product? So I'm just gonna write down again this part. This time around, I'm gonna expand the CH3 to become this one. Okay, so what happened here? The COH will become C double bond O. So this is our aldehyde where the C double bond O is bonded to the hydrogen. Okay, so that's the first one. The second one, to form the aldehyde, we're going to undergo ozonolysis. Okay, so ozonolysis is actually for the reaction of alkene. Okay, so we have our alkene here. What will happen to the ozonolysis? Ozonolysis is that we're going to break the double bond here. So what instead it will be like this lah. Double bond here. Tapi what will happen to the double bond? That the oxygen attached to it. Okay. So this is for this part. Okay. For the right part ni pun sama juga. The CCH3 double bond hydrogen. Okay. The double bond ni kita akan buat oxygen. Okay. So when we oxidize these two, since this is identical, berdua akan dapat the same product lah. Okay. Cuma beza dia. This one means buat CH3 in terms of condense kan. Ni means like expand kan dia. Okay. So that is for the preparation of aldehyde. Okay. Yang aldehyde ni sebenarnya banyak the reaction itself lah. Okay, so for the reaction of aldehyde, first we're going to see is that we're going to oxidize the aldehyde itself. Tadi kita oxidize alcohol to form aldehyde. Right now, we're going to oxidize the aldehyde ni to become carboxylic acid. Okay, so how do we oxidize the aldehyde? So here what will happen is that we're going to add oxygen to the hydrogen. Hydrogen ni must be attached to the C double bond O lah. So C double bond O here, kita tengok dia attached to the hydrogen. Okay, so sini kita akan add our oxygen. Okay, yang ini kita kekalkan saja. This one pun sama juga. The difference is that this one will become OH. Okay, satu step je, add oxygen to the hydrogen. Oxidation, we add oxygen. Okay, so that's the first one. So we will have on the same carbon, we have double bond O, we have OH. That is our carboxylic acid. Okay, next is actually we undergo reduction with lithium aluminium hydride and H3O+. Ni lialhah kita ni. We're going to form primary alcohol. Reduction ni pula is actually we're going to add our hydrogen lah. Okay, so how to add our hydrogen? So what happen here is that we're going to add two hydrogen to our carbonyl kita. Okay, so macam mana? Okay, so C double bond O ni, it will become COH. Okay. And then, okay, so contohnya if I draw it in terms of yang ini kan, the first step ni je. So this will be my product lah. But then carbon kita ni baru ada 1, 2, 3 bond. So lagi satu ni nak letak apa? Lagi satu ni kita akan add another one of hydrogen. Itu masuk dekat sini, HCOH ni. So that's for the reaction of our aldehyde, oxidation and reduction. Okay, next kita akan tengok is the nucleophilic addition of carbonyl. Okay, so what happen is that kita akan buat CO double bond O ni dia akan jadi COH. Okay, and then macam yang tadi kat sini kan, bila dia COH, lagi satu ni kita akan add something else. Okay. What is the something else yang akan ada for the reaction ni? Reaction tu, instead of hydrogen, we're going to add our nucleophile kita lah. Okay. So nucleophile ni is actually our negatively charged negatively charged species where it is an electron rich molecule kita lah, ataupun electron rich species. So again, apa yang akan berubah, the C double bond O ni will become COH. Okay, so kat sini Miss nak condensekan balik, Miss nak jadi the CH3, C hydrogen, double bond O. Okay, so again, the double bond O will become OH. Okay, H tu actually from mana? Okay, so for example, okay, from this one, the NaCN H2SO4 hydrogen from here, H2OH plus ni, then one of the hydrogen here. Our sodium sulfate ni from here. Our alcohol from this H ni lah. Okay. And then from our green reagent di hujung sekali ni pun, from our H yang this one. Okay. So first what I'm going to do is actually I'm going to draw dia jadi C double bond O ni jadi OH. So this is only the first one lah. C O double bond O ni jadi OH. Okay, next we're going to add addition ni kan. Sebab carbon ni only semua ni baru ada 3 bond. So what happens is that we're going to add another one bond lah. We're going to add our nucleophile. Nucleophile ni is the negatively charged. Okay, so contohnya kat sini. Just going to zoom in. NaCN ni sebenarnya from Na plus and Cn minus. Okay, nucleophile ni maksudnya Nu minus kita. So again, dalam case ni, the one that we're going to add is our nucleophile negative charge. So our nucleophile that will be added is, based on this one, is our Cn here lah. Okay, and then we're going to form our cyanohydrine where the carbon have OH and Cn on it. Okay, kalau macam mana pula dengan H2O ni, this one if we divide it pun sama juga, it become H plus OH minus. Since the H is added to here, so yang sini ada satu bond lagi. Another bond ni we're going to add our nucleophile. Dalam case ni is our OH minus yang sini. Next is our with our sodium sulfate ni. Okay, so this one is actually for this one. Dia adalah, since this is H plus, what we have, okay, we have H plus and SO3 Na. SO3 minus and sodium. So again, what we're going to add is actually we're going to add our SO3 and A kita. Next with our alcohol. So for our alcohol, the same one, kita akan ada H plus. So apa yang tinggal ni adalah CH3O minus. So I'm just gonna color this one. Okay, so the O minus ni, yang minus ni yang attached to it lah. So nucleophilic kan, NU minus kan. Sama juga yang ni, SO3 minus ni. So it attached to the S. Okay, the S atom or the sulfur atom. So this one attached to O, CH3. Okay, so that's the first 4 one. Tapi for the case of when we react our aldehyde with our alcohol, first we're going to form hemiacetal lah. Okay, ini nucleophilic addition. Next, when we react it with another alcohol, it will become our condensation reaction. Where this one, we're going to remove our H, or it could be we remove our OH. Our alcohol ni, we're going to remove this OH ni lah. So I'm just going to write down bottom here. What we're going to form, or what we're going to remove is actually remove H2O. Okay, so what happened is that, okay, so kat sini bila kita remove H2O, the CH3 will be bonded to the oxygen itself lah. Dah substituted kan, because the OH and hydrogen will be combined to form H2O. So what I'm going to do is actually we're going to write down again all of this. But now the hydrogen is not there anymore because we already react it with the OH here. So here, this one, we're going to combine with our CH3 again. Then this is what we call acetal. Okay. And last but not least, what we're going to react for our last but not least, what we're going to react is actually aldehyde with our Grignard reagent. Okay, so what happened is that, okay, again, I'm just going to draw the structure ni. So the for the case of our aldehyde, the double bond O become OH. Okay, this one yang mana yang nucleophile tu, ataupun this case when we draw the structure again. So this one, even though it's not that clear kan, positive negative. Okay, since magnesium ni is actually partial positive.
But the group 12, the carbon will be partial negative because group 14. So what we're going to add, so what we're going to add is actually the CH3 ni lah. Kita akan add di sini. That will be the nucleophilic addition of our carbonyl. Okay. Specifically our aldehyde. So that is for the nucleophilic addition. Okay, next what we're going to look at is actually the condensation reaction. Next what we're going to look at. Okay, so that is for the nucleophilic addition of carbonyl, or specifically for aldehyde. Okay, next we're going to see for the reaction of condensation of aldehyde or carbonyl kita with our ammonia derivative. So for the condensation ni, again what happens is that we're going to remove the H2O. But then how do we remove the H2O? We're going to remove the oxygen from the C double bond O. And then kita remove ni. So H2 ni pula daripada our NH2 bond kita lah. Okay, so again di double bond O ni ada oxygen ni from this oxygen. Yang ini, okay, macam mana pula kita nak buat? And because I want to remove the H2 kan, misal buat macam ni jadi H2. Lepas tu bonded apa lagi tinggal? NH. Yang ini pun sama juga. H2. Apa yang tinggal? Yang NH2. NH2. This one pun sama. So, Miss nak pecahkan H2 ni biar di tepi. And N, it become, yang this one, yang ni kan H2. Ini akan jadi NOH. Okay, so how do we write it down? Dia akan jadi macam ni. So, this is for the first four one lah. So, kita tengok lagi, zoom in lagi how we gonna draw it. Again, we're gonna remove oxygen from here. And hydrogen from here kan, daripada H2 ni. So, apa yang tinggal, itu yang kita akan write down. So, for example, since we have removed the H2, so what is left is actually NH. Kat sini tinggal NH2, ni NOH. And jadi, dia jadi NCH3. Okay, so again, first one ni, apa yang Miss akan buat, I'm gonna again take this one, ataupun specifically dia, Miss terus buat CH3, CH, okay, double bond. Okay, oxygen ni tak boleh dah lah, because we have removed it. Okay, and then, H2 ni pun kita dah remove yang sini kan, so what is left is actually only NH. Okay, so this is condensation reaction, we remove the H2O, H2 from here, oxygen from here. The same goes untuk yang ini. For the next one ni, kat sini kita kekalkan sahaja. Okay, so kat sini, instead of we writing again NH, sebab kita remove H2, ini ada NH2. This one ada NOH, this one ada NCH3. Again, yang ini NCH3, kenapa? We remove the H2. Okay, so apa yang tinggal? N dengan CH3. Sini jadi H2 kita lah. That's why we get this one. So, what will be our product? Okay, so now this will be our product kita lah. Okay, memang different one. Okay, different memang semua ada nitrogen. Tapi yang beza dia, what is bonded to the nitrogen lagi? Because we have removed the 2 hydrogen for each of our ammonia derivative. Okay, next. Yang sebelah ni adalah NH2CH5. Okay. So, NH2CH5 ni apa? Ini sebenarnya macam ni. Kita punya aniline. We have our benzene ring. We have our NH2. Again, what we're going to do is actually we're going to remove the H2. So, apa yang tinggal? Only our nitrogen and our benzene ring. Okay, so again, our carbonyl tu will be this one. Okay, since oxygen and 2 of the hydrogen from aniline ni remove, so yang ini akan terus combine to our carbon double bond. So, this will be the product dia. Okay, yang ini next one ni pun sebenarnya dia adalah phenol, that 2,4-dinitrophenylhydrazine. Okay, yang ini dia panjang sikit. Okay, if you're not sure, boleh refer balik pada nota chapter 9. I'm just going to link dia di description. Okay, so ini pun sama juga. What we're gonna do, first one, kita punya C double bond O ni. Maksudnya O dia remove. We have this one. Okay, and then this structure is actually 2,4-dinitrophenylhydrazine. Dia sebenarnya macam ni. H2N and then H2N and then ada ni ting. So NO2 and then we have NO2. So H2 ni kita dah remove lah. Okay, tapi for the 2,4-dinitrophenylhydrazine ni dia ada extra sikit. Is where it is used for Brady's test. For chapter 9 ni we have lots of chemical tests. Okay, so for the chemical test ni, Brady's test ni is actually to detect the presence of C double bond O. Okay. So this is for the reaction. Kalau dia minta equation, this one lah. Okay. So that is actually the condensation reaction. Okay, last but not least, what we're going to look at is actually the chemical test for chapter 9. First, we have Tollen test, Fehling test, and Iodoform test. Okay, so for Tollen test ni is to differentiate aldehyde and ketone. Okay, kalau dapat bezakan aldehyde and ketone. Aldehyde ni boleh jadi aromatic aldehyde pun boleh juga. Okay, yang ini tak kisah aliphatic or aromatic. Aliphatic, kalau aromatic, it means that the double bond O directly attached to directly attached to benzene. Okay, kalau aliphatic tu maksud dia tak kisahlah, attached not to the aromatic compound. Okay, so how do we write down silver mirror form ni? We have to write down the reagent dululah sebelum kita tulis yang kita punya silver mirror form ni dari mana pula. Okay, so first we have our aldehyde. We react it with our Tollen reagent AgNH3 2 and the OH minus. Okay, what happens is that we're going to substitute the hydrogen with the O minus. And then since we mentioned about the observation silver mirror form kan, so kita kena tunjuklah observation di what is the product. Kena tulis dalam observation tu based on our product equation kan. Kena tulislah Ag, arrow dia ke bawah. Because we want to show it is our silver mirror form. Okay, this one to differentiate aldehyde dengan ketone. So kalau ketone ni maksudnya no observable changes ataupun remain unchanged. Okay. Next is for the Fehling test. Fehling test pula is where precipitate form. This case to differentiate aliphatic aldehyde with aromatic aldehyde dengan ketone. Dalam kes ni aromatic aldehyde will form sama juga, no observable changes. Ketone kita pun no observable changes. Tapi kalau aliphatic aldehyde pula, what is the equation and the product? So it will become like this, where our aldehyde react with our Fehling test Cu2 plus complex. We have OH minus, it must be in a base. So sama juga, we're going to substitute H dengan O minus. The same goes for our silver mirror tadi. It's just that since it is brick red precipitate, so brick red precipitate to from our copper to oxide lah. And then since precipitate, our solid, the arrow must be downwards. Okay, so that is for the Fehling test. So the third one. Okay, so Fehling test ataupun Benedict test ni maksudnya sama sajalah equation and observation dia. Last but not least is the Iodoform test. In this case, we're going to detect the presence of CH3 on our carbonyl. If we have CH3 on it, dia akan jadi C double bond O. Okay, so what about the equation? Okay, so we have our ethanol. We're gonna react it with iodine, so to iodoform, and a base, sodium hydroxide. What happened? All the reaction is when kita substitute H dengan O minus, and then we have our CHI3 kita ni lah. So for the iodoform test of aldehyde is only applicable. Dia hanya boleh untuk kita punya ethanol sahajalah. So only ethanol we have CH3. Kalau yang lain-lain tu CH3CH2. So tak boleh lah. Okay, and the carbon tu memang kena ada hydrogen attached to it. So sebab tu lah sini je mesti CH3 kita. If both is CH3, that will be our ketone. Okay, so that is all the chemical reaction of our aldehyde. Now let's look for the reaction of ketone. Okay, so for the ketone, it's actually the same as our aldehyde lah. Mostly for the nucleophilic addition dengan condensation. Okay, yang ini nanti I'm just gonna skip through. Okay, but then let's look for the preparation and the reaction. Yang ini, it will have a big difference lah with our aldehyde. Okay, so how to prepare a ketone? So for the alcohol, where for aldehyde we have to use primary. For ketone, we're going to use secondary alcohol. So what is our secondary alcohol? Okay, for secondary alcohol, when it undergo oxidation, it will form ketone. Okay, how? Because it will going to remove 2 hydrogen and it will change the COH to become C double bond O. Again, 2 hydrogen tu, one of it is that the OH itself akan jadi C double bond O. It means that we're going to remove H here lah. Okay, next hydrogen tu must attach to the COH. To the COH, we only have one sahaja pilihan. Where for primary, we have 2 choices kan. So for primary alcohol, just now we have 2 choices, either down here or the top here. But for the secondary, only 1 choices. Itu yang kita akan remove. Okay, sini only one choices, so I'm just going to draw here, remove this one lah. Okay, so what happened is that we're going to change the COH ni to become C double bond O. So this one ni kita maintainkan sahaja. Okay, so for this one, sebab yang ni expanded. Okay, this one I'm going to make it a small structure. So this one I've maintained it in terms of condense. Okay, so apa yang jadi? This one CH3, ni CH3 yang ni. Okay, so we remove this one will become double bond O. Okay, so this one is actually for the oxidation of secondary alcohol. We will form ketone because the C double bond O ni attached to 1 and 2 carbon. Okay, besides that, our alkene can also undergo ozonolysis to form our ketone. For example, this is our alkene. So for the ozonolysis, again, we're going to break the double bond and then we're going to form oxygen. Okay, kat sini lah. Yang ini pun kalau miss break pun, we're going to form the oxygen. Still have the same product. Okay. So since kat sini sebenarnya the same je ozonolysis dia kan. The same product. It's fine if you just write it down once. Okay. So this is how you prepare your ketone. The next reaction of ketone is that, okay, so for our ketone, so for oxidation, okay, so what is the reaction of oxidation? What will happen? We're going to add oxygen to the hydrogen. Hydrogen yang mana? Hydrogen that attached to the C double bond O. So, C double bond O ni, kita tengok ada tak yang attach hydrogen to it? This carbon only attached to carbon dengan carbon. So, this reaction cannot undergo lah. So, what we're going to write down? No observable change. Okay, so that's for oxidation. Because we don't have any hydrogen attached to the carbonyl kita. Next is for the reduction. Reduction is actually where we're going to add hydrogen. So how we're going to add the hydrogen? We're going to add to the C double bond O. Once adalah the C double bond O jadi COH. Lagi satu on the same carbon kita akan tambah hydrogen lah. Okay, so what does it mean? So contohnya this one kan. Okay, Miss tukar yang ni jadi OH. So this one, the CH3 become this one. CH3 kat sini. Okay, the C double bond O akan become COH. Okay, so as we can see, this carbon only have 3 bonds. So maknanya dia kena ada 4 bonds kan. So maknanya we're gonna add another hydrogen. So this is what it meant lah. Okay, so we're gonna form our secondary alcohol. Because carbon ni attached to 1, 2 carbon. Okay, kalau ketone, reduction jadi secondary alcohol. Kalau aldehyde, dia akan reduction jadi primary alcohol. Okay, why? Because when we see carbon tu bonded to how many carbon? Okay, so that is only the difference between our ketone reaction of ketone and aldehyde. For this bottom one ni, sama sahaja. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to write down the answer. So you just can pause it here to know the answer lah. Okay, so again, this is the answer. Yang ini I'm not going to explain it again because it's the same one. So if you're unsure, boleh refer to the timestamp for the reaction of the nucleophilic addition and the condensation lah. Okay, it's just that for this one, for the ketone, kalau Brady's test and the Iodoform test, then it can have a positive result lah. Okay, for this one, just add. Okay, so contohnya ketone kita ni. Okay, so for example, we have 2 propanone. Okay, so in this case, again, because we want it to detect the presence of CH3 on the C double bond O. What will happen is that the CH3 ni will be converted ataupun substituted with O minus lah. Since we have 2 CH3, we're only going to substitute one sahaja. Okay, yang ada lagi satu ni, kita kekalkan lah. Okay, so that is it for the video for the mind map or summary of carbonyl.